have several tools we will learn apart from the cloud, which is AWS, and we have the mm, Linux. I was hearing about Linux, and many students felt that Linux is a compulsory, it's a mandatory for us, everyone to learn. Because without Linux, it is not even a single step that you can take in this world of DevOps and DevSecOps or cybersecurity. Okay, so let me introduce you to a fantastic world of DevOps. And somebody was asking me about whether asking us whether we should be aware of any programming language. Okay, that is a very common question. Now, to answer that, it is yes and no. Yes is always a good answer, but it is difficult to attain a yes because who are entry level into this domain, because it is very difficult for a developer. Now you are passing out from your university or from your college, and directly you will it will be difficult to get a developer's job because that market is already saturated. If you, yeah, I am not saying it is not possible, it is possible if you are exceptionally good. That exceptionally good is something really exceptionally good. Otherwise, it will be very difficult for you to get a job. But the beauty of DevOps is an entry point where you do not need to know much of a programming language. If you have an analytical mindset, if you can think logically, if your logical background is too good, uh, new things are not at all, because we are handling many students coming from different backgrounds, not IT in particular. Okay. So in that case, what we do is we have been a lot of success story where we have converted the person who is a non-IT guy from non-IT to an IT specialist, and they are doing a very fantastic jobs in US market. You can take it from us. Okay, let me start without much further ado. We will start our session. Just let me know if my voice is clear and if you can see the screen. If both are okay, then we can proceed. So first of all,
Yes, yes, sir.
is that right?
Yes.
Great, great. So you can see a very well twined some system that they are operating in a very well, it's sort of a well-oiled machine. Okay, these are the various phases of software development and deployment and delivery. Okay, so on the left hand side, you will see the development part on the left hand side, and this is the operations part. And you are the entire figure. That means you are going to help the development team and the operations team as a DevOps. So development plus operations is DevOps. Why DevOps and why we need a DevOps guy? Why the company is looking for a knowledgeable guy on DevOps is because now most of the companies, almost between 75 to 80% of the companies have matured in implementing DevOps in their life cycle, in their software development life cycle, without which they are not being able to do the automation. So to do an automation, which is the prime requirement of nowadays, you have to deliver your product very fast, and everything will be uh, tested, built properly, code verified, validated, the code quality checked, all in a pipeline, automated pipeline, because you need to deliver it in a very short cycle that is called sprint. And therefore, with the concept of agile coming into the market, that is the agile methodology. Okay, it has revolutionized the way you deliver and deploy the product. So we will now just discuss few of the things, not in details, great details, because that will be not necessary. We will start with the planning. So in DevOps, what we say, it is like, let me write it. So if this is, sorry, this is development, this is operations, and you are a sort of a Venn diagram, this and this. So development and operations, and you are DevOps. So you are coming with a plethora or a suite of tools that will make the life of both the developers and the operations guy along with the testing. So this is testers as well, and the quality guys, all lies in the right quadrant. So quality, operations, testing. Here it is development and your designers, developers, designers, solution architects. And you are a common factor with all of these guys. They will depend on you because you are the master of all these tools that they will be using, or you will be using, or the company is going to use in various phases of this particular life cycle. Okay, so what we say DevOps is from ideation to production. So what is that? Ideation means you can say it's the project initiation. Initiation. And this is when you deliver it to production. That is the end point. And it is not only that, even after the delivery, when the operations becomes the owner of the system, because operations are the backbone of any company. Okay, operations will start, the product has been delivered to the production. The product that was designed for this project was delivered to the production, but the work does not end there. The project ends because the project will start from here, project will end over here. So this is the tenure of the project. Okay, it is finite. It is not infinite. So project will have a starting date, project will have an ending date, but operations do not have it. Operations can start from a starting point, but there is no end point or there is no end time. So operations will go on and on and on and on and on, never ending, because they are going to man or operate on the production systems. They are the owners. You have to be very clear about ownership. They are the owners of the entire infrastructure. Entire infrastructure. And what do you mean by infrastructure? It is not only the servers. Servers are of course there. Servers. What else? Storage. What else? Network. Middleware. Admin. Let's say Linux or operating system admins. So they all fall under the jurisdiction of operations. They are the backbone of the company. So whenever a product has gone into the project might end, but the project continues with the operations. They will keep on monitoring on the health and everything. And if there is any defect or any issues raised by the service team, the service managers, the issues, it should not, one more thing, the client should not come back to you you are a vendor. I mean, you are working for a vendor company like IBM, like Accenture, like so many other vendors. The client is, let's say, AT&T. Client should not come to the vendor, that means from to IBM or Accenture or uh, to Cognizant, whatever it is, client should not come back to the vendor with an issue. You must go back to the client, or you must actually get hold of the issue, resolve the issue before it comes back to the client, comes from the client. Always that is the, so client first. Okay. If that is the philosophy, then you cannot allow a client coming you and complaining about the product. It should not happen like that. So a monitoring health check is the most important part after it has been delivered. What will the operations do? They will check. And if there are so many tools, there are many tools, I will discuss about that. So those tools will deliver a feasibility or a visibility to the operations guy about how the system is performing. If that is performing well, there is no issues. If not, it will go back to this cycle. So can you see it is coming back, going here, and again the delivery will happen, deployment will happen, it will again be deployed and delivered to the production, again it will. So this is an inverted or a horizontal 8. Any question? It should not be, because it's just the beginning. So what we do, we move ahead. Software development is a very common term. You do not need to worry that much. You can skip this. Just see that it is called SDLC, Software Development Lifecycle. Okay, for any software development company. It is comprising of planning, defining, designing, building, testing, deployment. So planning, in this planning phase, you have the project managers, the business analysts, the business owner, mutually discussing, the solution architect, everyone discussing about the requirements. Okay, so the requirements, the business pain points. So why should they hire you? Why should they hire you? Because here they will discuss the business requirements. And the business requirements, because there are pain points, customer pain points. The customer is feeling some issues for the business. Business is having some, they need some IT solution, some digital solution. So that business, it will be discussed among the project managers from both the sides, from the client and the vendor. Then there will be the solution architect. There will be some business analysts. They will freeze upon the business requirement. But the business requirement has to be now converted into a technical requirement. Because you have to convert in the same language that business requires. Because business will give you in a very non-technical format, template, the requirements. That has to be converted through the business analysts. Business analysts are very important at this stage, along with the designers or the solution architect. Okay. So business analysts, because they know the business of the client, as well as they are a system analyst. So they can help the solution architect convert the business requirement into a technical requirement. After the technical requirement has been done, it will come to the designers. They will produce a blueprint or an artifact, which is an UML diagrams, unified modeling language diagrams. Those diagrams are actually giving all the functional viewpoint For whom? Can anybody tell me for whom? See, this technical requirement now, that is still a very much business analyst point of view. That is fully not technical. They have to be converted into some design document, which is mostly UML diagrams. So every functions that is required for delivering the business requirement will be detailed over here in some diagrams. These diagrams will come down to the home. This is the implementation phase. Implementation phase. Okay. So there are the developers. The developers will work on the UML. They know how to convert that UML into some programming, some code, programming code, or with some languages. It can be Java, it can be PHP, it can be .NET, it can be C hash, whatever you can say. And it can be also Python, whatever. So that will be that. See, finally, the business requirement will be converted into a programming code. Then it will be build. Build will have the building and the development and the building of that of the application will be happening over here. And then it will be delivered to the testing team. The testing team will test with some automation tools that they have, and it will be either coming back to the developers because there could be bugs, some defects, or it can go for the deployment in the pre-production. So this testing is called the system integration testing. Here it is on the pre-production, which is a simulation of a production environment. And here will happen the UAT. User, who is the user? Your user is the client. The client will now sit on this particular pre-production server, and whatever that it has been deployed, that product has been deployed over here, they will test on it. This test and this test is totally different. This is a system integration testing done by the testing team, whereas this is the user acceptance testing. They will test it from a user point of view. It will be totally different. So can anybody tell me what are the various sort of testing in a system integration testing? Just 1, 2, 3, 4.
Unit testing.
Unit testing, I will say that should be on the developers. Unit testing, UT, should be conducted at the developers end. Before you do the unit testing, you should not give it to the testing team. So unit testing, or we can say peer-to-peer reviews, will happen at this implementation stage. So that unit testing is already done. It can be done with an X unit. X unit is for your .NET, Microsoft .NET, or J unit for Java. These are automation tools. Okay, they will do generally with X unit or a J unit, or there are so many other tools depending on the application that you have been developed. Here, one of them will be your functional testing, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Functional testing, because the functions that you have developed to cater to this business requirement should be aligned. Okay, then there will be what is that?
And the performance testing.
Performance testing, or in the performance testing, you can categorize in several ways. Like there can be a stress testing, stress or load testing. Okay. There are so many other types of performance testing. It depends on the company's policy of what should be the level of testing regarding performance. What is this? Third point, a very important testing that should happen. It
Might be a
is
security,
sort of.
sort of security testing.
Very good. One of the most important non-functional testing will be your security testing. There are many, but one of them is your security testing. Very good. So there will be code smells. So I can say sort of this also, I will take it as 4 quality code checking as well. That can be also done. Quality code checking with the help of SonarQube.
SonarQube.
Okay, so there can be code smells, code vulnerabilities, or so many things can be tested. Okay, for Java, there are around 756 rules that has to be passed. Yeah, there will be an acceptance levels like it can be up to 85% of the threshold. So you can have 15% of failures. But if your failures is 20%, then it is a failure. If you have passed only 80%, but your failure is 20%, then it is called a failure. So there is a various ways to test these metrics. These parameters will be set by a company, how strict they are. Some company go to 90% versus 10%. So the only allowable failure range is 10%.
I don't know, man. What kind of a graphics person is?
What kind of? Hello?
Oh, sorry.
So any question? You can ask any question. So if not, then
no.
Okay. So we will have the UAT. If this passed, this is the most stringent test. Functional testing has to be 100%. You cannot say, okay, 90% has passed and 10% failed. No, because then you are not catering to the business. This has to be very, very strict. If there are 50 functions or 50 features, all 50 features have to pass. You cannot say I have 45 passed and 5 failed. It will be considered as failed. It should go back to the building team or the developers. So anyway, it has exit gate from this testing. It has gone to the deployment. There was a UAT. The UAT approval has taken place, and then it will go to production. And then after it goes to production, what happens? It goes to the operations team. It goes to the operations team, and operations team will then start monitoring, and then it can again come back to the planning, and this cycle will continue. This cycle continues. Okay, iterative. So I will remove this and continue with my sorry. So in SDLC, we have 2 models, the waterfall model and the agile model. I will not go into details of this because that is not very important. If I'm coming from a project management background, I will know a lot of things regarding that. Okay, but one thing I will tell you, this waterfall model, it was one of the popular models, is also a popular model still now. Sorry. So, but it is all the projects failing, almost 70% of the projects which are failing all over the world, which are following the waterfall model is because of waterfall model. 70% failure. It's a high rate of failure. It is a statistics given by IBM. And as an I used to work in IBM as a project manager, so we were always having this magical figure or this figure. Sort of, we used to have jokes around us that, okay, are you going to hit that 70% bracket? I mean, for my project, for the project. So basically, most of the projects under the waterfall model will either, because there will be, this triangle. This is called the golden triangle of project management. You have the cost or the budget. You have the schedule or the timelines, and you have the quality. So you have to deliver your project within the cost or the budget. You have to deliver your project within the time, and you have to deliver the product with a certain quality expectation that has been set with the customer. Okay. So if any one of them in this triangle is not delivered, or it is over budget, or it is over the time, that means it is more than the time scheduled or estimated, and it is the quality is less than the expectation, then it is considered a failure. So most of the 70% because of waterfall model will fail. Agile model is lot of success. Almost 70% is a success. The cart has reversed. And with Agile came DevOps. Or do I say with DevOps came Agile? I am not sure. So which one is earlier, egg or the hen? Is a question. So let us not ponder on which came, but they are like hand in glove to each other. Okay, without Agile, you cannot implement DevOps, and without DevOps, you cannot implement an Agile model, or you cannot have a project management model called Agile.
So both are methodologies, right?
Yes, both are methodologies. You are correct. So that SDLC, both are following the SDLC, that software development lifecycle. But how? What is the principle? So that is what we are going to see just in the next slide. That in the waterfall model, I will not go into details, but because the waterfall model has something which is very much there, it is frozen. So the requirements are frozen there. You see, it is causing some problem. So a requirement will be frozen at the very beginning. So if it is a 1-year project, it's a, see, waterfall model projects are a bit complex. Lots of features, it will be delivered, has to be delivered in one go. Complex, big, and it will involve so many domains. That's why it will be a bit complex. So it has to be planned. A project manager is the main person in delivering a project. Okay, when it is a project manager has certain planning. So it is said that out of 100% of a project, planning goes almost 70% of it. So a project manager is involved in every phase of the project. And also at the same time, I can say it is because of the project managers that most of the 70% of the projects in waterfall model fail. The one reason is the project managers. Because of the extreme power they exercise over and they have been conferred with so much of a power by the business, and that by the model itself, because the model has to depend on the project manager, that they at one point of time become a sort of a dictator. who believe that the project cannot move one step without the help of PM. So they start micromanaging. And the philosophy of micromanaging is that you do not rely on your team. That's why you do management. You do not have trust on your team. Why? Because you think that without you, the team cannot work, cannot take even a simple. So the question of ownership is entirely lacking in this model. Every ownership will be lying with the PM. That is not good. Our team has to take the ownership. And when the team knows that I am not responsible for anything, I'm not accountable for anything, what they will do? They will only design, they will only develop. They are not concerned whether testing team is failure or having some problem in testing their code or not. So everyone becomes working in silos. Everyone starts working in silos, which is just against a team philosophy. You should be working as a team, not in a discrete silo mode. You cannot be a lone fox working in a corner of your office building. You cannot be. And then if you are a lone fox, then you are a not team player. So that team is lacking over here. Even if there is a team, but that team is divided into phases. So a design team will not take care anything after the phase has come out of that. There is an exit gate at each phase. There will be a lots of approval process, lots of documentation, lots of artifacts coming out from the design. So the customers will approve them. And in doing so, and there is a lot of bureaucracy. It will go through a lot of process overhead. And once it comes out of the design guys they will heave a sigh of relief that, okay, my work is done. I'm done with the project. I have nothing to do any further. That is not a teamwork. The teamwork is lagging totally. First of all, this is frozen. The requirement is frozen for 1 year. And can you believe that today's customers are very, very dynamic? What is their liking today can be a disliking tomorrow. They like this product today, but tomorrow they are looking for something else. So to have a frozen requirement for 1 year is not good. But that is what the design is, what the framework is. Okay. Another thing. So that is it is complex, it is big. They are working in silos. It is not a team function. This is frozen, and there will be no ownership other than the user. I mean, other than the project manager. And project manager becomes a sort of high-handed guy. Okay. And there's one more big drawback: the assumption. It is falling under a category of happy planning. Happy plan management. That is, you assume, the assumption is that your project will not have any defects, or rather there will not be any bottleneck. There will be no road blocker. Everything will move smooth and fine according to the project management plan. But in reality, it does not happen like that. Am I visible? Can you tell me?
Yes, you are, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So thank you. So my system has gone a bit of this video. It takes a bit of network, Anyway, So in that case, the assumption saying that everything will go smooth is the most bigger culprit. Okay, assumption should be that it can go wrong. So you do have to have a plan A, plan B, plan C. But most of the cases, people will fall back on plan A, the project management. And one more difficulty is that, can you tell me what is one more difficulty? You can see there is always a forward movement with the assumption that every forward movement, every exit gate will pass. And is there any backward movement?
No, sir.
No. Of course, you will not go back to the requirement, because if you are going back to the requirement, you are going back to the client can just penalize you. Why you are challenging the requirements? I cannot change the requirement anything right now. Okay, so you can go up to the design. So the design can be wrong. Based on the design wrong, if the development can go wrong. Based on the development, the testing will not allow, because testing has the metrics of all the test cases based on the requirements. So they will not allow the development to proceed to deployment. So the bottleneck happens here. The major hurdle, the roadblock happens here, and it goes on and on and on. So in this 1-year project, when you come to this deployment, when there is a UAT, user acceptance testing, it is almost 11 months gone. And now suddenly the user says, no, I'm not happy with what you have delivered. Functionally, it is okay, but I'm not worried about the function. But the essence of the product is not coming out. I wanted this, and you have given me. So I wanted apple, and you have successfully given me an orange. Though the orange is quite good and sweet, seedless orange. That's okay. The product is very good, but that is still an orange. I did not want an orange. I wanted an apple. So on the 11th month, the customer is saying that you have delivered an orange. So what you have to do? Within 1 month, you have to make this an apple. Is it possible? You have taken 11 months to come to this gate. It is not possible. It is almost like the thing it is going to, even if it is within the cost, the time, it is going to be exceeded. And the customer will not provide you even a single day more than the schedule. If they provide, they will penalize you highly, because it will be in the agreement. So there is a lot of difficulty. It is very difficult to handle a project with a waterfall model. That is my essence. Do you have any question?
No,
The
sir.
one biggest, yes, the one biggest thing, what is the drawback? The biggest drawback is
From this, I think it means that you can't apply this to it depends on the kind of a team. So if you're going to have a large team, it's going to cause a lot of problems.
okay. Yes.
Yeah, because the communication span, as you pointed out, and then number two, a company wouldn't want to really invest in a product that would take this much, and then because it would be costly for them to make those changes with immediate effect.
Correct. And one point missed is that I will remove this. One point missed is,
are you
that
referring to the time span, to when the product is actually needed?
Yeah, that is the time. Time is a constraint. Yes, definitely. But the most important part for the assumption is that because you are always forward moving, you are assuming that there is no rollback. The rollback or getting back is quite difficult. Okay, getting back from one stage to the other stage, and the most important is the you have not encouraged early failure. You have to fail. So you are in standard 1 and here is standard 10. You are in class 1 in your school. You were doing excellent. You are getting 100%. First standard, second standard, third standard. And when you came to the 9th standard, when in the 9th standard, you got 35%. Which one is good? It should have been 35% over here. You got a long time to prepare yourself for the best results during the later stage when it matters. This phase matters when you want to deliver. But there you got 35%, whereas you should have got at least 90%. So the early failure, because you were very confident that I am successful so much in the very beginning. So you never thought that you can fail. Failure is a hard reality. You will fail. You take it from me. However confident person you are, you have to fail in some point of time. And that failure, if it happens on the latter stage, at this stage, if the failure happens, then what happens? It is not acceptable. So you should have failed over here. So your design should have failed over here. Somebody could have reviewed that. No, the design is not going to cater to the requirements. Then you will have rectified that at this stage. So the development will be correct. So the testing will find lesser bugs and the deployment UAT will pass. Is it thing? Because you are here, you are failing late. That is the biggest drawback. I will move ahead. So in the agile model, we do a short sprint. We do a short sprint. You know, do you run? Sorry. Do you run 100 meters? When you run 100 meters, what do you say? It is a sprint. Sprint. When you run marathon, what do you say? Do you say it's a sprint? Marathon is a run. Run. But 100 meter, 200 meters are sprints. You will say Carl Lewis is in a sprint of 100 meters, competing in a sprint of 100 meters. Okay. So marathon is a run. 1,000 meter, 10,000 meters run is a run. So our waterfall model was a run. And agile is a sprint. And that's why you say you give your product the most business value. So out of 50 features that you are supposed to deliver, out of 50 features of the product, you will be customizing or picking up the first 5 most valuable business, which can deliver the most valuable business value, which is imminent, just in time to the market. Just in time to the market, because it is when the customer needs, you must come up with the product. It is not that the customer needed some product now and you have given after say 1 month. So in the 1 month period, what happens is there are many competitors who has already given that requirement. So you have to be just in time in the market. Just 1 minute. Just give me I will stop my camera because just yeah, I have done that. I have now. Can you see? Yeah, I can see myself. So good. What I do, I will go back. So the most a product having a feature having the most business value will have to be delivered. Okay, so I will pick up only the first. So it is called the first five, the five priority feature. And what is that process called? You are creating a product backlog. A bucket will be created. By whom? The business owner. So you see, your client is working with you. So you become one team. Business owner is working with you. Every day there will be a stand-up call for 15 minutes with the business owner. So business owner is entirely involved. Whereas in the other diagram that we have seen, the business owner was only involved in the very early stage when it was you are freezing the requirement. But here the business owner is involved every day for entire all the phases, and they will prepare a bucket that is called a priority bucket or a backlog bucket. Backlog. So in this backlog, you will pick up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And those 5 features, the most priority features, which is having the business value, the most business value will be picked up, and that is called a sprint cycle. Sprint cycle. So the release will be of 2 weeks. Short sprints. That's why it is called short sprints. It is not a 1-year run. 2 weeks or 4 weeks. Within 2 weeks, I will deliver all the 5 thing. This thing. So why? Because you have prioritized your requests or requirements. You will design accordingly. And during the design, so you have given that UML or diagram to the coding team, and they will start working on the first feature. So when, say, after 2 or 3 days, when the first feature has been delivered, immediately it will be given to the testing team to test. So it is almost that the entire team starts working from day one. It is not that design will complete the design, then it will come to the coding. Coding will complete all the 5 features or all the 50 features, and then it will give it to the testing. Not that. Otherwise, you are wasting time. When you have done a small part of thing, you must give it to the testing team, because you are trying to do what? Why is that needed? You are trying to fail early. That is the essence of agile. You need to fail early. Failure will happen. You cannot avoid failures. But if it happens early, it is good for the thing. So see, you can refine, and iterate. Keep on iterating till you get the best product, the quality product, which is without any failure. The failure will not happen any further because you have rigorously tested and failed earlier. You have refined yourself. If there is a failure, you give it back to the coding. Immediately they will start. So whatever the rectification needs to be done, because they are time boxed. These are all, I'm giving short terms such that I'm not explaining all the agile features, but time box means you are within the time limit. So your requests, you have not frozen your requirements. Why? Because your backlog can keep on changing. The bucket, that is the design, that is the beauty of, you do not need, your requirements will be dynamic. It is according to the market requirement. It is not that you have thought that this would be the market requirement and I will be working on it for 1 year. No, that is called a static. That is a happy planning. That should not happen. Your backlog bucket should be very, very dynamic. What you thought was the feature number 10. Maybe tomorrow you can replace the 5 with the feature number 10. It can happen. It can happen. So you thought 1, 2, 3, 4, and 10. The feature number 10 will have to be promoted to feature number 5. That can happen. So it becomes very dynamic in nature, and it is quite adapted to the current requirement of the age. It is quite up to the age. Any question?
No, sir. Clear.
Very good. So there are lots of advantages, definitely. Customer satisfaction, less planning required. Oh, one thing I forgot to tell you, because I was a project manager, I know the pain. We are not required. A project management or project manager is not required in an agile team. In an agile team. An agile team is a short team, and the ideal mix is between 7 to 9 team members. And each of these team members are experts in their own area, but they also have some cross-functional knowledge. So it can work as a very well-oiled machine. And these guys are all of this, whether you are a DevOps guy in this project, or you are a tester, you are a DevOps guy, or you are a developer, you are an operations guy, or you are a designer or a solution architect. Everyone is the owner of the project. The entire team is the owner of the project. So the team will take a decision, not the project manager. Only there is a servant leader. And that servant leader is, and the very name suggests that you are a servant. You will only coordinate between the business owner and the team. You are a coordinator, sort of. You will provide the team with whatever the requirements they need. You will arrange all those resources. You are basically a servant leader, but you will not dictate. You will not have any say on what. You cannot say that, no, the team has to decide on the course of the progress.
Sir, you are on mute. Sir, you are mute. Voice, I cannot hear your voice.
Mute. I don't know why I was in mute. So how long I was in mute? Up to which point?
Just few seconds ago. Till
Oh,
the
okay.
that we don't
Maybe.
dictate, you said, right? That part.
Okay, fine. So what I will say, that a project manager is not there in an agile team. Only a servant leader is there. Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Yes. The servant manager or the service, sorry, again saying manager. It is servant leader will only coordinate between the business owner from the client side and the team, the agile team, to provide the resources that is required by the team. It is like it will work as a servant. And so these guys are called, what? It is, if you are following a Scrum project, it is a Scrum Master. Okay. But it is not a project manager. There are very, very less documentation, almost nil, Documentation takes around 70% of the time. Documentation, whatever it is. So no documentation or less documentation. You are meant only to work. You have to, but the whole thing is you have to deliver the product, the features within 2 weeks, the 5 features. So that is called a release, or better to say a sprint release. Okay. So you plan for the sprint release. There will be a burn down chart. So on this, you start, initially your progress will be slow because you are a team. You have to gel with the team and the progress will be slow. So there is a team velocity. There are so many things. Actually, I'm not going to discuss that because my target is to understand why we are learning, why we are here to learn DevOps. There is a team velocity. Initially, the team velocity will be less, but gradually, as you experience, gradually the team velocity will, so the time will come down. Time will come down. It is time versus speed. Speed of delivery. Speed increases, time reduces. Anyway. Okay, but ultimately you will deliver within 2 weeks or 4 weeks. Generally, say 5 or 6 or 10 products will be delivered, features will be delivered maximum by 4 weeks. If you are planning more than 4 weeks, then it is not good. You have to break down your product features in that case. Maximum 4 weeks, a sprint release. So the requirements can be dynamic and not frozen. Functionality can be created and tested quickly. Yes, of course, because everyone, the testing team is also involved at the very beginning. So what is DevOps? Why is DevOps? We are going to understand. We have already understood why we are required as a DevOps engineer. Okay. Now, there are developers, there are operations. They always keep on firefighting because these guys have a lot of ego. These guys have a lot of ego. They think they know a lot. Yes, they know a lot, but that doesn't mean that they can undermine the functionality of an operations guy. Okay, so based on this, there will be a lot of tussle back and forth between the operations and the why operations. Why there is a fight between the operations and the developers? Because developers will put in, always they are innovative. They want to put in something into the system, whereas the operations guy do not want. They want a status quo. Why they want the status quo? Because they want the running system not to be disturbed. If you are putting in new things, it may happen the existing running applications can go wrong. So they will resist. It is like this one is like this, and this one is resisting. So there is a clash point. Operations is resisting and development is delivering. Okay, putting in something. Now, a developer's job is to develop applications, pass his code to the operations team. That's fine, but operations environment will not be suitable for the development teams that code to work. So it can fail. It will fail. The developer used to run the code on his system and forward it to the operating system. So they will tune. They will tune the environment, the dev environment accordingly. They are quite intelligent guys. They know they will tweak and tune their system according and their environment according to the application that they have developed. But here there is a fixed sort of environment. Fixed environment. It is because there are lots of other applications that are running. Lots of other applications. It is not that it is only one project which is going to use the test environment or the environment. So it is very difficult to make a common environment for all the applications because it is very, very customized. It will run in that particular development environment. When it comes, the code comes over here, it fails naturally. So there will be anyway. So I will move forward. So this will keep on. It is. They will say it's not my fault, and they will say it's not working. So this led to a lot of back and forth between the developer and the operations team. Hence, it impacted the efficiency of the project. The project is getting a lot of hit because of this unnecessary debates, unnecessary time-consuming activities of no value. So the problem was solved using DevOps. Now, that is the importance of your DevOps tools, that you come with a set of a platoon of tools. So that same developer who was opposing the testing team that no, you are not correct, I am correct. Now the testing team has produced the result out of Selenium. The web application that the developer has developed was tested using an automation tool called Selenium. Now the result coming and Selenium saying that no, there are, say, out of 50 features, there are almost, or 50 test cases, there is almost a failure in 20 cases. 20 cases have failed. So will the developers now challenge this output? Can they? No, they cannot. Immediately the test manager will call the development manager. There will be a meeting and the development manager will now accept, yes, they cannot say wrong. It is a tested and verified tool. It is in the industry accepted tool. So it cannot say something wrong. It cannot be manipulated by the testing team. So whatever it is saying, you must go back. If the SonarQube is giving some result that the Java code that they have written or the Python code they have written is not within the threshold. So it has to be rectified. And they will give a detailed report that these are the problem areas. They will come back and the developers now cannot deny, cannot argue. Can they? No. However big their ego is, doesn't matter. You cannot deny. So here your DevOps came into picture. And not only that, gradually you will become friends. So DevOps guys become a friend with the development team, with the testing team, with the project management team, with the operations team, with the quality team, because everyone will come back to you because everyone wants their particular thing done correctly, especially the operations team. And of course, the development team as well. So if they want their things to be done and you are the experts of all these tools, next I'm going to discuss about the tools. So, Dev and Ops is DevOps. And it is not me, it is Amazon. It is saying something about DevOps. DevOps is a combination of cultural philosophies, practice. So DevOps itself is not a tool. Please remember this. DevOps is a combination of cultural philosophies, practices, and tools that increases an organization's ability to deliver applications and services at high velocity. Okay. And what is Microsoft saying? Microsoft saying that DevOps combines development and operations to unite people. See, it is not saying anything about technology. It is saying that it unites people, process, and technology in application planning, development, delivery, and operations. So are you not important? You are a very, very important guy, because Microsoft and Amazon is saying that DevOps is indispensable. You cannot do, I think, I'm not very sure of the spelling, but anyway. So you cannot do away with you cannot do without DevOps. If you have to be delivering just in time delivery. Understanding the primary phases, yes, that's okay. And it has to be that there are 6 principles based on which DevOps is based on. It has to be customer-centric actions. Any actions that you take, it has to be customer-centric. It should be end-to-end responsibility. You should work as a team with an end-to-end ownership. Continuous improvement. The improvement is continuous. You cannot say, I'm happy. There is no place of complacency. You keep on continuously improving on this. You have to automate everything, but sometimes you must leave something on a manual ground, because everything automated is not accepted. I mean, it is not, it may not do good. So you can automate most of the things, if not everything. And that is the beauty. So that work which used to take 2 hours, now you will deliver it in within 10 minutes. Which one is preferable for the operations, for the process? It will accept which can reduce the time, because time is money. You are dealing with the police, and police wants an information. If you give that information, the expectation is within 10 minutes you have to give that information. But earlier your systems can give that information within a day. It took a full day, but gradually, but actually the SLA was to give it within 10 minutes, because the crime will not stop. The criminal will run away if that information is not available. So if your system will deliver that information within 10 minutes, that is the best possible solution. It used to give it in 1 day. Now, with the automation of those processes, you have done it, you have given that information within 10 minutes. So that is one thing. Work as one team. This team concept comes along with Agile. If you cannot work as a team, you are not a part of the team at all. Monitor and test everything. Yes, you have to keep on monitoring and testing everything. You cannot leave assuming that, yeah, it will work, because it has come from a developer who is in this industry for 16 years. You cannot leave it onto any assumption. So many other reasons. The why traditional ITs and why DevOps. Which one is better? So there is a comparison. It is less productive, more productive. Skill-centric team is divided into specialized silos. More time invested in planning, because the project manager takes almost 70% of the time in planning. Smaller and frequent releases lead to easy scheduling, time boxing, you can say, and less time in planning. Difficult to achieve target or the goal. Of course it is. Frequent releases with continuous feedback makes achieving targets easy. Now, it is said that if you have to be a champion in DevOps, you have to, let me do it with a different color. So they say, if you have to do it, if you can master 20 plus DevOps tools, you are a champion. But for us, for our market study that we have done, we see that if you know about 7 of the tools, 7 tools will be more than sufficient. And what are the 7 tools? That in our main course, in our job ready training program, what we deliver is in 7 to 8 weeks, 7 to 8 weeks of 2.5 hours every day between Monday to Friday, 5 days for 7 to 8 weeks. We deliver a course called DevOps, where we train you on the 7 tools along with AWS cloud and Linux. Linux is very important, so I double mark it, make it bold with Linux. So these are not part of DevOps tools, but additionally we will learn AWS and Linux. So apart from 7 tools, this is more than sufficient for, and we have been successful even to make our non-IT guys who does not even have basic knowledge on operating system. Cloud is a big thing for them. Not even can work on Windows properly. Okay, those guys are now doing a big job in the US market. Okay, and we have been very successful. So we know that we should be very good in AWS. We should be very good in Linux and the 7 tools. And what are the 7 tools? This is Terraform. One, two. So this is the logo of Terraform, which is infrastructure as a code tool. You will code the infrastructure. You will create an infrastructure with the help of Terraform over the cloud. Build tool, Maven. We learn Maven. So Maven is a build tool which can compile and put a executable file and the various other artifacts of the Java. It can be a jar file. It can be a WAR file, Wave Archive or Java Application Archive. Okay, Wave Application Archive. And there can be your PHP file. So whatever, you can build it through Maven. And we also do the Sonar Cube, which is a code quality checker. We also do the Nexus, which is a refractory software. Refractory is a big thing, but right now I'm just going through the tools that we are learning. So Maven, Sonar Cube, Nexus, and the version control. We learn Git over here. Git is a version control tool. In the container management, we learn Docker. This is Docker. And this is Kubernetes. In the performance monitoring, we do not learn anything because these monitoring tools are mostly for the operations guy. So if somebody is wanting to go into operations team or work as an operations guy, you must be learning at least one tool. This is a Nagios, but not for us, not for DevOps guys. Nagios or Splunk or what? Prometheus. So these are basically, an operations guy should at least have a knowledge on any one of this. Otherwise, they will not get a job. To get a job, any operations guy, today's operations guy has to know all these things. And an operations guy need to know Linux as well and the cloud as well. They cannot work in an operations team without this requisite knowledge. At least Linux, at least one cloud, and at least one of these, either Nagios, Splunk, or Prometheus. So I'm not considering this because we are not learning all this. This is for the operations team. In this configuration management, we will learn Ansible. So, right. This is Chef, but Chef, we are not. Chef is very complicated. Chef, we are not. We are going for the industry accepted, the learning curve is quite small. So this is Ansible. And then we learn, earlier we used to learn Jenkins, but nowadays we are learning GitLab because Jenkins is more or less out of competition against GitLab and Azure DevOps. So what is this? This is a CI/CD pipeline. Continuous integration, continuous delivery and deployment pipelines. So this is a very, very important. Just now you had a cybersecurity session. And in cybersecurity, you need to secure these assets. Whatever the assets have been provided or delivered from these tools. So CI/CD pipeline is one of the biggest asset automation pipeline. You have to know as well as cybersecurity, which is called DevSecOps, to secure your pipelines, the automation pipelines. And the automation pipeline, we are going to learn GitLab, not Jenkins. Okay, because now GitLab is a competitor to Azure DevOps. Both are having almost similar features, almost equal features. But Azure is coming from a very, very big company called Microsoft. So naturally, they have a very big muscle power in this industry. And we are also planning in our future, within 2 or 3 months, we are going to introduce Azure DevOps in our course. How? I do not know. Because as it is, there are lots of tools. And maybe then we have to increase the time from 8 weeks to at least 12 weeks. Yeah, not even 12 weeks. It can be 10 weeks. Then we can include this thing. So many of our students might not be 10 weeks, can be a bit bigger. So it is almost like 2.5 months. 2.5 months, for many of us, many of the students, it is a big time. Anyway, we will see. We'll see what we will do. So we will introduce Azure DevOps sometime. Testing, of course, Selenium. But we are not learning because we are, for any person who is wanting to go into the testing team, must learn either Selenium or JUnit. I will say they must learn Selenium first because almost 70% of the applications are web applications. So for that, you need an automation tool like Selenium. And the JUnit for Java testing or automation testing, and XUnit. So it will be preferable if a tester can learn all the three of it. Automation tools. We are not learning this. Continuous monitoring, alerting, delivery, all these things are various tools, but that are outside our scope to learn. So now you count 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, for the time being, I'm leaving this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And of course, we are backing them up with a capstone project. Now that will make you an entirely different person once you have done capstone project with us, involving all the tools. So if you count them, so it is 7, 8, 9. 9 tools already. Along with AWS and Linux, it will become 11 tools. It's quite good. Within 7 to 8 weeks, you become a champion. Any question? No question. Are there anybody? I mean, I doubt. How many? Oh, 20 guys. That's good. I'm very happy.
Sir, these sessions, right? Monday to Friday, sir.
No, that is not for the free internship. That is our main program, which is, you know, a job ready program, which is a paid one.
Okay, for free internship, what is the timing, sir?
Free internship, this is my first session on DevOps. Previous to that, it was cybersecurity, 2 hours every Saturday.
So every Saturday,
So
10 to 11:30.
9:30 to 11:30.
9:30 to
If you are
11:30.
talking about DevOps,
DevOps. Okay, fine, sir. So what's the difference between
cybersecurity,
that, sir? What's the difference between paid and free, sir? Like what will be changes?
in the pay, you have to pay money.
Yes, sir. Exactly.
Let
No,
me
that's
answer. Mr. Devash, allow me to answer. Free
Yeah,
classes,
sure.
it's only it is a 8 weekend session. So and 2 hours. So you will get hardly 16 hours.
right.
So and the paid courses is like a 7 weeks daily, 2.5 hours, Monday to Friday, 5 days in a week.
Mhm.
Now, and apart from that, you will have a coursework, you have a live project training, you have a capstone project. So another maybe 60 to 80 hours you need to devote to work on the projects to make your hand dirty. So here in the free classes, we can only give you a high level overview. What you are going to, what will be your day-to-day activities, what will be your role and responsibility, how DevOps engineer normally works, what is your, toys in daily basis. But in our job training, our agenda is to make anyone to prepare for the particular job role. And if they have that kind of, no, you have to attend all the session. You There are certain students that feel that watching the video is good enough to become a master. What I believe is not quite true,
Mhm.
because you have to remember that your computer having 8 9 years of an on domain experience. So somehow you have to be better than them, right?
Yes,
So
yes, yes. So what would be the timing, sir? Like if it is a paid one?
we do have morning batch and evening batch. I'm talking about whenever we are going to talking about timing, all about US Central Time. So which time zone you are in?
So I'm from IST time zone.
IST. So I do. So I'm giving you the one is 6 a.m. IST.
Uh-huh.
Sorry, 6:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. IST. Another
Okay.
one is I think 9 p.m. or 8:30 p.m. To another 2 hours.
Okay. Sir, what's the fee, sir? Because sorry, if you have mentioned it earlier, don't mind. Can
You
you?
can it is varies, so you can check to the like every batches is the prices goes varies, and we do have some coupons and promotional offer, so it is
Uh-huh.
good if you check the price online.
Online, huh? Or else should I ping you, sir, in the WhatsApp?
Yeah, you can ping, but again I will tell you, because even I don't know exact the price, because every time based on the season.
It's a dynamic pricing.
So yeah, holiday season and other coupons. So it's better if you. But our next batch is going to start in the US morning batch. That is your evening batch is going to start in, I think, end of November. The date is not finalized. See,
Yeah. End of November.
we cannot tell the date, because we need to wait until unless the last batch is finalized, right? And we
Okay. No,
don't
you said about IST, right? 6:30 to 9:30 something. So I was looking
6:30
out for that. Yeah, 6:30 to
morning batch.
9. Yeah, morning. Yeah.
Morning batch is going to start in December,
Oh, it starts in December. Okay, sir.
because we can have like 6 morning batch and 6 evening batch in a whole year, right? Once we
Mhm.
start commence one batches, we need to wait for another 2 months to complete.
Okay, sir. Getting it.
Okay. So
Okay, I have just 1 and 2 slides left, just to summarize it, and then Mr. Menon, you can take over.
sure.
Okay. So I will go back to my slides. If this is fine, so what I promise is within 7 tools, you can get a job in anywhere in this world. So that is quite a promise, sort of. So I will just discuss. This could be the penultimate slide or the last but one slide. So here we see the various phases. Okay, plan, code, build, test, and you can see these lines, these arrows. One going from this left hand side to the right hand side, and one coming from the right hand side to the left hand side. So it is like that 8. So that horizontal 8. Left hand side is the development side, and the right hand side is the operations side. And you are totally within all of these domains. So in this plan and code, you can see we have clubbed it. You have the Git, which we are going to learn, and the Jira. But in the GitLab is one of the tools for integration, which is your CI/CD pipeline tool. So in that, you already have the features of Jira. So when we learn GitLab, we also will learn a bit of Jira, or I mean the project management utilities, which is already there. So we will not go for Jira, a separate tool, but we will do Git, and then we will have Maven. On the build, we will have Maven. We will learn Maven. In the testing, like the JUnit and Selenium, we are not going to do anything over here. In the deploy, in the meantime, these pipelines are used with the GitLab. Okay, so GitLab pipelines, what you can say. So we learn GitLab, along with which we will also learn the Jira part of it, the project management part of it. On the deploy side, on the deploy phase, which is deploy and operate, we will learn Docker. We will learn Terraform. I have not given the Kubernetes. So Kubernetes will also come in the operate stage, Terraform, Ansible. And as I told you, the monitoring is entirely with the operations team. So either they can go for Splunk or Nagios, but we are not learning that. This is ELK, Elastic Stack. Okay, now that is part of, which is a very important field coming up. It is called SRE, Site Reliability. This is coming up in huge demand, engineering. There are 3 items: E for Elastic Stash, then L for Log Stash, and K for Kibana. And there is also Grafana, you can say. So Kibana, Elastic Stash, and Log Stash. These 3 will combine to make an SRE, Site Reliability Engineering. This is almost like your monitoring things, mostly used by the operations, but this is coming up highly as a separate subject, SRE. But you cannot do SRE without learning DevOps. That is my take on it. You first learn DevOps, then either graduate to SRE. I will say, instead of going to SRE, because in India, SRE is not that prevalent. So better you go to DevSecOps or cybersecurity. That should be the roadmap. If you want to secure a high-paying job where you are already a DevOps guy, and then you have graduated yourself to cybersecurity, where whatever assets that you have created, those assets will be secured using your knowledge of DevSecOps or cybersecurity. And therefore, you can demand a very high salary. And this combination, DevOps plus DevSecOps, is a hugely sought after job profile. So this is, as I told you, this part is called continuous development. This part, the build and the test, is called continuous testing. The pipeline is called continuous integration pipeline, CI pipelines. Then deploy and operate is continuous deployment, as well as operate and monitor is continuous monitoring. So everything is continuous. And this is the last slide for our discussion, is the entire life cycle, starting with the developer. So developer will deliver their code into the source control. This is like the GitHub. Okay. So there will be a continuous development. So over a pipeline, this developer will commit or basically push all the changes, like the Java codes or Python code, whatever the codes they are writing, they will store it with a version control system called GitHub, or it can be GitLab. We are learning both of them, GitHub and GitLab. So, and through the GitLab pipeline, there can be Docker, there can be SonarQube, the tools. There can be Kubernetes, K8s, okay? And there can be Terraform, and there can be Ansible. So with this Docker, and there can be Maven. With the help of Maven, you compile the code or you build the code, and with the Docker, you make it into an image and put that into a container. So the image is your application. So you are containerizing the application, so that will be starting to run in a container. So it's a separate environment. This is the container. This technology we are going to learn how easily you can deploy as a container and with the Terraform, you will provision the infrastructure. With Ansible, you will configure the infrastructure and deploy. So SonarQube will check the code for the quality. Kubernetes is a container orchestration. So if you have to use a huge network and a huge environment of microservices, you deploy it. It is through the Kubernetes. Clear? So this is through, and then there will be continuous testing and the continuous feedback. You will go and give it back to the developer because there could be some defects. This way the cycle will continue. So when the testing is fine on the test server, it will be deployed to the continuous over the pipeline. See, everything is a pipeline. You can deploy it to the pre-production where you will have the UAT. So you are coming back to the same framework again and again. This much for today. I hope you will find this is quite good and worth learning as a DevOps engineer. I will go back, and I know it's too late in India. It is almost 11:30 p.m. in the night. So we will end the session today. Hope you have enjoyed and you have taken there is a lot of takeaway from this particular session. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, sir.
Debashish.
Yes,
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you.
So guys, we'll take another 2 to 3 minutes because it is a very long session for us as well. So if you have any question, feel free to ask, and thank you for joining. I don't think anyone have any questions so far now. So
Can you just post YouTube link in the WhatsApp group?
yeah, it
Yes,
will take
yes.
little time to process, and maybe within 1 or 2 days we are going to send 2 links, one for DevOps, one for cybersecurity.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Sir, the capstone project that you mentioned, while presentation, that will be in the paid version.
Yes, yes.